Hello and welcome along to Aston Villa from the stands. I hope you're well. Make sure you smash a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and of course, get in the comment section, whether it's live or on replay, for all things that we discussed today. The news that is coming in today is the following: Emi Martinez, conflicting transfer rumours. And I want to be clear, rumours, speculation, a new club, a new interest in the form of Chelsea Football Club. Let's see what that one has to say. Different reporters saying different things. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings on that one. Number two, Marco Asensio has been offered to Fenerbahce. The Turkish League are cooking. The Turkish League have high priority and high targets. And there's also another ex-Villa player who's been offered in the Turkish League, which we'll get into as well. And there's some Louis Barry news. There's some Enzo Baranchea news. And there's some other news as always. So make sure you strap in, make sure you lock in, and make sure you are smashing the like button for me right now. We would greatly appreciate that and all that good stuff. So yeah, we are live again on Aston Villa from the stands. And look, all I can say is this. We are here to report rumours, stories, news. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But the big thing is, maybe yesterday I was a little bit more on edge, and I had a few comments on my live stream yesterday saying, geez, calm down, geez, get a grip, blah, 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 blah. Look, more on the replay than anything. I will say this, is that yesterday felt a very underwhelming day because there was nothing of substance. To be clear, I still feel a bit of the same. We are 3 days away from the big PSR deadline, and there's nothing closer to anyone in and out. Maybe Louis Barry, maybe Kane Kessler-Hayden, but we're no further than we were yesterday. However, maybe a little bit more movement seems to be clear. Now, as I said, last season, it took us to the 29th and the 30th of June to get our PSR sortings and dealings. Amari Kellyman went to Chelsea on the 29th. Douglas Luiz went to Juve on the 30th. So do you know what? I've got it. It's fine. It's going to all happen on the 30th, and I'm going to live with that, and all's good. So big up to each and every single one of you. Thank you for being in here today. Make sure you are supporting the channel by smashing the like button and share the stream around and all that good stuff. Let's get into the first story. And big up to everyone in the chat tonight. Great to see you all. And yeah, we're going to go through the stories as suggested. Also, if you do want to become a member of the channel, check out the pinned comment, become a clan member for 99p, cheap as chips, bargain, and you get a nice little emoji, a nice little badge next to your name, and you stand out in the chat. So big up to each and every single one of you. Come and join the chat. So look, Emi Martinez. Emi Martinez. Let's see what happens with that. Let's see what happens with that. I've just seen everyone's names have, a little bit changed with numbers on it and moderators. No idea about that at all. But there we go. Let's start with the Ben Jacobs story. Okay, so Ben Jacobs, someone that we've used a lot on this channel as a source, a medium, someone who has directly commented on Aston Villa a lot. He has come out, and this, I'll show you where the report came in. Chelsea are not exploring a deal for Emi Martinez, despite reports. Respect for the player, but not a target. Interesting. Ben Jacobs is absolutely coming out there and saying, do you know what? Ignore the rumours. Now, whether you believe Ben Jacobs or not is another story. And I'll show you his credentials again. But he did this at 2:30 today. Ben Jacobs said this at 2:30 today. Now, just to remind you who Ben Jacobs is, great picture of Ronaldinho there. Ben Jacobs is a sports broadcaster, senior football correspondent for Give Me Sport, a Premier League commentator for TalkSport Live. In fact, he works at Give Me Sport, and he's a Leicester fan as well. Is always something. It's not a strong source, but he's coming in hard on that and saying, "Listen, ignore it. It's all a load of rubbish." And exactly what Niall's sort of saying in the chat is that sometimes what Ben Jacobs says isn't always gospel. And as I always do when I report on said journalists, I always say, be careful of this one. Let's know what happens. So he's saying, look, Chelsea not in for Emi Martinez at all. And that came with some interesting comments on social media. Some saying, are you sure? You're making it up, blah, blah, blah. And you think, okay, pause on that one. Why is it being spoken about? Well, there was an earlier report that mentioned from a various source then that Chelsea are interested in Emi Martinez, and other Villa channels like Luke Channel, other Villa fan channel, sort of did a video on it. But a more frequent and a regular update that has come in is from this. And this one was more of an interest to me because it actually starts to build a better story. Okay. Chelsea, who have Argentine Willy Caballero as their goalkeeping coach, have joined the race for Emi Martinez. And with him prioritising staying in England, it makes them a very viable option. Pause on that one. And that has substance to me. And I'll tell you why it has substance in a second. The reason why it has substance for me is because, first of all, we'll go to the source just so you're aware of who the source is. The source is Crónica, and if you want it translated, the leading Argentine media in breaking news, always standing firm with the people. So a media sports company that class themselves as the leading one in Argentina are bringing this news because obviously, twofold, it involves two Argentinians. It involves Willy Caballero and it involves Emi Martinez. But the bit that does suggest to me of why Chelsea potentially, again, when you look at that with Willy Caballero, etc., is that Emi Martinez has said he wants to stay in England. Emi Martinez has said that England is a priority for him. Okay, so if he wants to stay in England, you've got Aston Villa, we've got these Man United links, and now Chelsea have come into the fold. And what is it with Chelsea trying to be linked to all our players and Chelsea being linked to X, Y, and Z? Always does fascinate me. But Chelsea, precarious club, and I want to know your thoughts on this one. We know with Manchester United that Emi Martinez can only go there if Andre Onana becomes sold and that number one spot is taken up. What we've always known with Chelsea fans is the following. Chelsea have always felt their frustration with Robert Sanchez. They've even rotated a little bit with Petrovic. And what you will probably tell and hear from Chelsea fans, the weakest position that Chelsea will say on their pitch is their goalkeeper. I'm sure there's no one in this chat right now who is confident to say that Robert Sanchez is a good enough number one for Chelsea. Let's be honest. If he was the number one for Aston Villa, I'd be worried. That's where I'd put it. If Robert Sanchez became my number one goalkeeper, I'd be like, oh boy, not good. Not good. So we're going to pause on that for a second and go, okay, what is the situation at Chelsea? What is the situation at Chelsea that could change or not change this? Let's see it. Big up to Fraser, who said he's done 2 streams in 2 days. Which channel was that on, Fraser? Because I'll have to check that out for sure. And yeah, Sanchez is awful. God awful. Perez said, Villa fans don't throw toys at the pram. We ain't worried about Colt. We got power and they should be worried about us. Last season, you've seen us squirming to get deals before the 30th. Now we're different. Exactly. And as I said at the very start, the 29th of June and the 30th of June is where we did our business. They have European football as well, so it could be more of a pool. Exactly that with Chelsea and their situation. They are in the Champions League, whereas Manchester United are not, as are Aston Villa. But this, again, all depends on the fact that if Chelsea want to stay, if Emi Martinez wants to stay in England. So Chelsea's setup is like this. There was a statement that came out from Enzo Maresca. I forgot which journalist broke it. I think it was the guy from Sky Sports, beginning with R. If anyone can help me out. Ravi, someone. Can't remember his name. But he broke the news, and apparently Enzo Maresca has come out and said that he has no intent on signing a new goalkeeper. I don't know if you guys were aware, but Chelsea were linked with Mike Manigan at one point from AC Milan, and that sort of fell flat as a pancake. It didn't come through. So what Chelsea have are these 4 goalkeepers. Petrovic, Robert Sanchez, the guy on the left and next to Sanchez on our left is Penders, who's a young goalkeeper. But look at the size of him. Absolute man mountain, that Penders. Absolute man mountain. And therefore, Chelsea apparently are going to loan one of these goalkeepers and sell one of these goalkeepers. They don't want all 4, but they'll have 3 of them because they're going to loan one and they're going to sell one. So it'll be interesting where they go about. However, Chelsea fans once again will say, why are they still persisting with Robert Sanchez, the man that basically cost Chelsea quite a few games last season and has always been their weaker link? It's an interesting one. Would Emi Martinez be an upgrade on Robert Sanchez? That's for you guys to say in the chat, and that's for you guys to have an opinion on. However, this is Robert Sanchez's current stats in the Club World Cup. Based on the XG of shots on target face, Chelsea's Robert Sanchez prevented more goals than any other goalkeeper in the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup group stage. And that's going to give Chelsea in Enzo Maresca, it's going to give Robert Sanchez a little bit of a boost in some sense. It's actually going to turn around and say, do you know what? We're doing all right. We're doing all right here. We've got the number one. So if we link this back to Chelsea, and if we link this back to the fact that, you know, Emi Martinez, why would Emi go to Chelsea? That's the big question. That is the question that we need to know. Number one will be the fact that it feels like Aston Villa are getting rid of Emi Martinez no matter what. Number two, if Emi Martinez has decided he wants to stay in England, his choices are Manchester United or Chelsea. And number three, Chelsea have that European Champions League pool. It's there. It's an option. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know really on this one. I feel like it's a bit of a dead rumour. I feel like it's not a very good one. And I feel like it's a bit of a terrible situation in that sense. But contrasting reports, as I said, Ben Jacobs is saying one thing and other reporters are saying other. We have to work out right now, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And are we going to sell Emi Martinez? You've got to ask yourself this, chat. If Emi was really staying, then why do these rumours and links continue? Why have they not been shut down? Why have we not closed the door on it? Why is it that, quite frankly, Emi Martinez to somewhere is just not dying down? I have a mad feeling based on nothing that Martinez stays. Weird, but everything about it seems odd to me. And that's what I mean. There are still, you know, Kevin's coming in with an honest opinion. He's going off a gut feeling. I think I'm probably the other way around. I'm probably thinking that every day there's an Emi Martinez rumour, whether it's Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester United, now Chelsea. Where is this coming from? Why is it happening? And what are we doing about it? Why can't we just shut it down? Why can't Emi and his entourage shut it down? Why can't we shut it down? Why can't we say he's not for sale? He's like the Morgan Rogers situation. Let's put it this way. Why have Aston Villa confidently come out and basically said Morgan Rogers is not for sale at any price, really? You're going to have to be talking stupid figures to lure him away. Why have we not done the same for Debu? That's the big question I've got to ask. We had Monchi's half-assed interview about it, but for me, it wasn't convincing enough to tell me that, you know, we want him. Chelsea get rid of one and loan one, that leaves them two. That's a risk of injuries. So they could look for another pick. Football clubs tend to do that. Though. If you look at Villa, we did it with Robin Olsen and Emi, and we loaned out Joe Gauchi. And then you usually, if you need the third keeper, it's the under 21, under 18 keeper in the ranks. And yeah, Chelsea simply can't have 4 first teamers on their books. As goalkeepers, you have to sell one and loan one. That keeps you 3 first teamers on the books of there. Big up Steven, he says, says Emi to Chelsea, we get Palmer. If only. But even then, he'd probably have to be on the bench for Morgan Rogers. Stephen D said, is there any way Emi stays at Villa now, or us, or is it too far down the line of him wanting to leave allegedly? Personally, I feel that you don't get these rumours about Emi for no reason. I think there's something behind closed doors of an agreement would have been made with Villa somewhere along the line. I'm sure of it. It's just finding the right club for him and leaving amicably, I think. But there we go. So look, in terms of goalkeeper situations then, once again, we had that merry-go-round of goalkeeper, talk. And it's the same names that are coming up, of course, with Lucas Chevalier. He keeps coming up and up and up. And I think we're going to see basically, another situation where us, Manchester United, and maybe one more are going to have Lucas Chevalier. And I think that It's going to be the domino effect. It's going to be the roundabout effect, and see what happens. So here's the story on Lucas Chevalier again. It says Aston Villa have taken proactive steps towards the possible signing of Lucas Chevalier, sounding out his agents to gauge his interest in a move. He is valued at 40 to 50 million, and Lille are holding firm on this as his contract runs out to 2027. Essentially, what we're saying is that we need to know if this guy actually wants to move to us. That's how I read that first line. Villa need to go and talk to his agent and need to find out, do you want to move to Aston Villa or not? Do you want to move to Aston Villa or not? Because if you don't, then we're wasting our time here again. Do you have other offers? Do you have other clubs? Do you have other situations that looks more viable? And whether this is a forced link because of the Emi Martinez rumours, you do not know. But what we do know is that we're in the goalkeeping market for sure. And someone constantly reminds me in the chat every time, we need goalkeepers. At the moment, Joe Gauchi is the only recognised goalkeeper at Aston Villa with Emi Martinez. If Emi leaves, we need a goalkeeper. But Emi Martinez is banned for the first 3 games of the season because of his red card against Manchester United. We need a keeper. So we'll see what happens. Kevin says he'll probably leave, but it's mad. He didn't leave when we were crap. Now we're on the up. He wants to leave. Or is it a Villa decision? That last bit, Kevin, for sure. Villa decision. I'm sure of it. Looks like Zemi's are pushing for the move. But both. I think it's both. I think both of... In my opinion, it feels like Emi and Villa have shaken hands and gone, I agree. Let's part ways. Because these rumours are nuts right now. Absolutely nuts. So that's the situation with the goalkeeper position. Again, none the wiser as to what's going to happen with that one. And we'll have to wait and see. Do I see it before the 30th? Absolutely not. I think there was... I think it was Fabrizio who even said it as well. I think if Emi Martinez is going to move, he's going to wait. He's going to wait. He's not going to come in and leave just before the 30th. So I'm absolutely sure that Emi Martinez is not going to be someone we see leave quickly. But what Fabrizio said is he's going to still see what the emerging market will look like in the coming weeks of the transfer window. Again, if you do the sort of maths, the coming weeks would be before Villa go to the USA. If Villa goes to the USA with Emi Martinez, so if Emi travels to the US pre-season tour, I think I'd probably say I think that tells me everything that I need to know that he's staying. And I'll stay on that one. I think if the goalkeeper, if he travels to the USA, he's staying. Simple as that. Big up to one of our members, Southern Gamer. Big up to you. Adam Sky is in the chat. He said, Emery is the only one I couldn't deal with leaving. Unai, well, that's the thing. And it's a reminder to us all, though, with these big names like Emi Martinez being linked away, that no one is irreplaceable. Everyone is disposable. And that goes for the manager as well. It's a big season ahead for the manager. It's a big season for Unai to keep his credentials high, to keep his backing high, and to keep the fan base 100% with him at every step of the way. I think there are still, 97% of the fan base are with Emery, and I think 3% are starting to look at him and go, I'm not sure. But that 97% for me, that still could be too low. It could be 98, 99. Still think the majority of Villa fans know that Unai Emery is the man and that there's no one better. But I think this season could change that percentage depending on the outcomes. If we go and win something, it's 1,000,000%. If we don't, it'd be interesting. So yeah. At the moment, Unai Emery is the only indispensable person at Villa, in my opinion. We need him at the helm. We need him to do his thing, and we need him to get it right. So there we go. Kevin says it's a ruthless decision if it's a Villa decision. Fair play, got to trust in Monchi, exactly. And that's what's being drummed down our throat. We're being told to trust the process, trust Monchi, trust Unai Monchi. Well, let's hope our trust and faith pays off. Let's hope that it's the right decision, because I'm serious in saying this, that I say this every live stream I do. Villa seems so close but so far, and it's up to Monchi to now bridge that gap and make us so close and in touching distance. So there we go. Could it be that he stays until January? I don't think Villa would let a goalkeeper of his magnitude go in January unless there's another option. But there is always that chance, isn't it? I think personally, Emi won't just move to the club for the sake of moving to a club. I think Emi will only move to a club this window if he knows it is 100% the number one spot for him. Going to Manchester United with still Onana there could leave doubts. Going to Chelsea, if Robert Sanchez is there, still leaves doubts. Going to a club where there's guaranteed number one spot, it's there. 10 million for plus Robert Sanchez for Martinez. Who says no? Me. I'll be honest. Robert Sanchez is a complete liability. He would fill me with no faith whatsoever. And listen, I'm not a big, I don't like Chelsea fans too much, especially some of the ones on here that I know I don't like them, but their opinions are a little bit far-fetched on how they see their club. But what I will say is this. The one common denominator I always hear from Chelsea fans is how much they dislike Robert Sanchez and that he is the problem. And Chelsea fans are even saying if they go into the season next season with Robert Sanchez as their number one, they would doubt their abilities to get Champions League football. That's how much this man is not rated. That's how much he's not rated by Chelsea fans. Do you know what I mean? Chelsea fans would probably turn around and say that if they went into next season with Robert Sanchez in goal, they would be in a big worry. So there we go. There we go. I see Huddersfield naming rights for stadium today. Don't know how much they're getting. Yeah, it would be interesting though because Villa are looking at that. Emery's the best chance of winning Europa. It's his comp. Let's hope he delivers on that then. Can't leave until last minute in case we're left high and dry with no goalkeeper. Exactly. But I feel like Lucas Chevalier is going to leave Lille no matter what. So I think the Frenchman is going to leave Lille no matter what. It's where he ends up. And he's waiting, I think, on the Emi Martinez situation, on the Onana situation, and maybe any other club in Europe. What will Newcastle do potentially? Will Newcastle go for James Trafford? I think it's that. I think it's that situation. Please give us Martinez. He's all we need at the moment at Chelsea. Yeah. If Villa were to strengthen Chelsea, after what I see listen, this is how I put it. I see Villa and Chelsea as contend as rivals for the top 4 spots. I don't think Chelsea are anywhere near winning the title. I think they're a team that would finish 3rd or 4th in the league. And therefore I see them as a contender for our spot. If we were to strengthen Chelsea, I'd be fuming. And that's how I look at it. Look, Martinez going to Manchester United would no doubt strengthen them. I can't beat around the bush on that one. He strengthens Manchester United. But does he bring Manchester United even closer to our gap? Probably not. Probably not, chat. I don't think he brings Man United any closer to coming above us in the Premier League. But with Chelsea, he definitely strengthens them. Again, his desire to play in Europe. I can't sit there and believe that Emi doesn't want to be playing midweek football. I can't sit there and think Emi does not want to play midweek football, be in the European spotlight where he gets his name paraded around Europe. The guy loves attention. The guy loves his name being bounced around. And the guy absolutely loves being that man in that moment. So let's see. Sanchez will come good at Villa. Your manager knows how to develop players. Are you saying that Enzo Maresca doesn't? Interestingly. Are you saying that Enzo Maresca doesn't? Still got my reservations on Enzo Maresca at Chelsea. I really have. Okay, so let's go on to the Asensio news. Marco Asensio has been offered to Fenerbahce. Okay. What's going on in the Turkish League, people? Someone help me out here and tell me what on earth is going on in the Turkish League. Because there's another post that I'm going to show you about the Turkish League that's going to blow your mind. Marco Asensio has been offered to Fenerbahce. Let that one sink in, people. Let that one sink in. Now, the fan base of Fenerbahce are very split And I'm going to show you some comments in a minute. The fan base in Fenerbahce are very split. Some are saying yes, taken, and some are saying no. The fact people are saying no to Marco Asensio is interesting. But something is going on in that Turkish league. And again, it is the type of move I could probably see Marco Asensio having going out into Turkey. I would say Turkey is the hybrid between retirement and the Saudi Pro League. It's like you've got Europe and you've got top football. You've got the Turkish league who play good wages. You've got that climate. You've got that sort of lifestyle. And then you've got the Saudi league. And I think Turkey falls in between top European leagues and the Saudi league. I see it as that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that one, or I'm being too disrespectful to the Turkish league, but that's personally how I look at it from the outside. It'll be manure or he stays with us, says Ross. I think that, again, there is a big chance this Manchester United situation, let's see what they do and react if another bid came in. Say a bid did come in for Emi Martinez and it was official. How would Manchester United react? Would they come and challenge and chase it as well? Or would they let it go? So the reporter for this Marco Asensio news, I thought, okay, who is this source? It's clearly a Turkish source. And this is the source who's broken this Marco Asensio news. And I looked at him and thought, okay, who is this guy? Sports journalist, but this is what caught my eye. This is now people say he can't, but 1.8 million followers. 1.8 million followers. It's a pretty big following for a sports journalist on social media, which for me, I reckon he's the top dog in Turkey. I reckon he's the top dog in Turkey. I reckon this guy knows what he's on about. So he commented, let me find the one because he's done a lot of stories because obviously he's a journalist. Here it is, 2.6 million interactions. And if you want it fully translated from the source, the horse's mouth himself, exclusive, Marco Asensio, who wears the Paris Saint-Germain jersey, has been offered to Fenerbahce. PSG really don't want him, do they? PSG really do not want Marco Asensio, which I find interesting. But they are going through that new era. And again, 2.8 million interactions. There's a lot of comments, obviously, a lot in Turkish in there. I took this guy's one, for example. Looking at the comments, one says come, another says trash. How will this community ever unite? Basically, Fenerbahce fans don't seem to agree, like every fan base. But that's interesting. As I said, a lot of people are saying one like him, and others are saying that he's rubbish. From scrolling through the comments, that a lot of Turkish. Let's see what this one says. It would be a perfect addition, and if Kang in Lee comes along, it'd be absolutely delightful. So yeah, there's a lot of positivity for him in that sense. And as I said, that is the transfer rumor from the horse's mouth himself, that he's there. But have a look at this one that followed. This caught my eye as well. This caught my eye because it is quite of interest. Exclusive. Fenerbahce football director Devin Osap has gone to Colombia to persuade and meet with John Duran. We know that John Duran is basically being told by Al Nassr to pack your bags, go find a new club on loan for a bit. We can't have you. We don't want you. It's not working out. So Fenerbahce, as I said, the Turkish league is cooking. That's Asensio and John Duran, being offered to Turkey. I always sit and someone said the other day, imagine a world of situation in where Ollie Watkins or whatever went to Arsenal and Villa got John Duran back on loan. Just imagine that whole cycle. Just imagine that whole cycle right there of Villa sell John Duran for that big transfer fee in January, and we deny Watkins' move in January. Comes to the summer, we let Watkins leave, and what we do is we get John Duran back on loan for an absolutely pennyfuls. Obviously got the Ollie money, and then what we do is we go and have an absolute blast with that. And imagine a world in that. I don't think that could happen. I think that's a million miles off happening. But football's a funny old thing. So look, Marco Asensio has been offered to Fenerbahce, as has the fact that John Duran is player that is there. What I see that as is that the Turkish league are trying to be a big profile league. When you've got Jose Mourinho as a manager in your league, it has a status to it. And then when Galatasaray, Fenerbahce's biggest rivals, go and sign Leroy Sané, you start looking at them going, okay, And if Galatasaray are doing business like that, then Fenerbahce will want to back themselves up. Rivals with Gala, it's going to be massive. So, yeah. Marco Asensio. Has Marco Asensio worked with Jose Mourinho? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he has, actually. Just trying to think of that one, but there we go. Stephen is saying the transfer fee, he's a bargain, but it's his wages. Yeah, again, chat, like when we turn this to Villa, I think everyone says the same. If we have wage issues at Villa with our SCR and we've got to squad to cost ratios and we've got to hit a 70% threshold, getting someone like Marco Asensio in at Aston Villa for his wages is simply not going to work out. Simply not going to work out. Yes, the rumoured fee is around 15 million euros as such, but his wages are going to be a completely different gravy. And we have to look at that and think, do you know what? Let's look elsewhere. It also, and my constant message about Marco Asensio is this: if he impedes Morgan Rogers and stops Morgan Rogers playing the 10, then I don't want him. Big up here. It says, hi, Newcastle United should sign James Trafford, Anthony Elanga, and Karim Adeyemi, and João Pedro should sign for $125 million. Move deal now for Newcastle United. There's a lot going on there. Newcastle, this is the thing, right? I want to quickly talk on Newcastle. I mentioned this with Forest the other day as well. Newcastle have all this money, a bit like us, and Newcastle have just qualified for the Champions League. Yet you still see Newcastle struggling to do business. You still see Newcastle struggling to land targets like James Trafford. They're going after Anthony Elanga. They're going after, Karim Adeyemi, João Pedro. When you look back, you think they should be able to land all of those. A team in the Champions League, a great club, a great fan base, lots of money. Eddie Howe won a trophy last season. Why wouldn't you jump to Newcastle right now? Like, seriously, why wouldn't you jump to Newcastle right now? But once again, they seem a club that is limited, that is prohibited from spending money how they want to, and faces the same sort of scenario and difficulties that I would say Aston Villa do. But because they are waiting until the 1st of July, I know that. And listen, I know everyone's waiting until the 1st of July. But people like Arsenal haven't. People like Liverpool haven't. But of course, they're not hurt by PSR, and I knew Newcastle are. But I'm still saying, what about this, though? You're Newcastle United, and these are your transfer links. If we were all being black and white and straight to the point here, James Trafford, Anthony Elanga, and João Pedro are bang average signings, right? They're nothing special. They don't strike fear into me. In fact, if I saw James Trafford in goal for Newcastle when he comes to Villa, I'm thinking, okay, interesting. If I see João Pedro up front for him and no Alexander Isak, I'm licking my lips. And if I see Elanga on the left wing, I think, okay, the guy's all right, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared. And that's why I mean, Newcastle still that pull. Why are they not pulling those players? And it feels the same with Villa, and Forest experienced it as well. Forest even got rejected yesterday by the Juve winger. Something fundamentally just feels a little bit off with these clubs. Now, as I said, and as Kevin will tell me, it's all about the 1st of July. Let's see what happens. But you'd think the transfer links would be stronger for us in Newcastle. I really do. The quality and calibre of players that I thought we'd be trying to recruit, thought they'd be better. Watching Ryan Cherky go to Man City just like that, damn. Nipan, damn. Even Liam Delap, Chelsea just go, we're having. So let's see. Big up to the Forest fan, NFCC 2000. He says, not true, he walked away in his ass. Is that true? Is it? He walked away. Fair. And I like that. I like that. You know that. Juve. Never do business with Juve. They're a weird old club. That's all I can say on Juventus. That's all I can say on Juventus. But yeah, it doesn't affect the corrupt six. They seem to be able to attract and pull whoever they want. Maybe apart from Spurs. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the transfer situation. Is that I just thought we'd all be linked to a little bit of players. And this is interesting. Players like copping onto this PS bullshit too. Exactly. And maybe that is the thing. Players aren't stupid. They're reading in the media and they're going, maybe joining Aston Villa is not a good idea because they've got this financial problem without reading too much into it. Newcastle and Forest. PSR. Should we be joining them? Can they sign us? What if this? Are they going to improve? All that crap being spouted around in the media is damaging us. Why is the narrative not being pushed more about Chelsea's women's team sale still actually not being officially approved by the Premier League? Why am I not seeing that around more mainstream outlets? Because it's not. The women's sale has not been officially approved by the regulation body to say it's a fair sale. Don't see that in the media, but they're very quick to comment on our struggles with PSR. No one wants to talk about the poor ownership of Manchester United and the financial difficulties and problems Man U have. Man City's 115 charges. You don't hear that anymore. That's gone all hush-hush. You don't hear Arsenal's 700... Wow. Arteta close to £1 billion spending and still hasn't won a league title. All those stories about money don't seem to get flung around. Yet when it comes to poor Villa and Forest and Newcastle, it's crap. But yeah, Forest are now clear of the PSR situation. They sorted themselves right out. And I did see that as, you were in the yellow zone reported by The Athletic. But you sorted your situation out. You're very clear, very dry, and it's all good. So yeah, hopefully we'll get into that situation. So yeah, that was the Marco Asensio news. Let me know in the chat again, any thoughts, feelings on Marco Asensio, please let me know. Bit of a breaking story just come through about Kostan Djokovic here. I'm going to share it to you right now, which is good timing in terms of PSR. RB Leipzig and Aston Villa are currently in contact regarding Kostan Djokovic. Leipzig wants to see if they can get him for under the pre-agreed amount of 10.5 million plus 4.5 mil. That's really annoying, isn't it? It's really annoying. They're going to try and hardball us. This is from Sky Sports. Philippe Hines works for Sky Sports, Germany. That's really annoying. NFC 2000 said, we're selling a right back, and annoyingly, it's not Matty Cash. We're actually selling a young right back who seems to be rated in Europe, but apart from at Aston Villa, never really got a fair chance at Aston Villa either. But why are Leipzig trying to hardball us? Why are Leipzig wanting to mess around with this fee? Just pay the agreed amount. We had a pre-agreed amount. Do you know what I mean? We had a pre-agreed amount. Pay the damn money. Pay the money, Leipzig. We pre-agreed. Why are we not putting it in writing and saying that's what you got to pay? But do you know why they're doing it? Because of what someone's just said in the chat. Because there's this narrative about Villa needing money in PSR. So Leipzig are going, you're desperate for money, so we're going to haggle you. And they're going to do it from a position of strength. Exactly. They're going to do it from a position of strength. It's wasting time. 3 days. We need that deal done. Costa's going. He's not part of the Villa squad. But we're going to end up... You know what, actually? We're end up going to selling players like Costa and Djokovic for way under price. Leipzig are going to end up getting a bargain. We're going to end up selling them for like 8 million, I reckon. Euros, that is. And as Stephen said, big Stephen, there's already a bargain for Costa, but other clubs now have financial issues. Exactly what we're saying. Yeah, exactly that, because they're in a position of strength. So frustrating, really. So that one's just come through. Leipzig, get the deal done. Stop messing around. Stop trying to haggle us. Stop trying to think you're Billy Big Balls because you know our position. Just pay the thing. We pre-agreed it. Let's shake hands and let's get on with business. Do you know what I mean? That's the ideal situation. But yeah, Leon Bailey, it's gone very quiet on Leon Bailey. I don't know. Again, I don't think he's going to leave before the 30th, which again won't help our financial situation. And I think what I see Villa strategically doing now is just get into the exact amount they need to for PSR this side of the 30th of June. And when it goes to the 1st of July, the Leon Bailey transfers, potentially the Emi Martinez transfers, are going to help the books for next season. I think if we're going to lose big guns like Ramsey, like Bailey, any of those have been reported, Kamara's, the big players of our squad, it's all going to be this side of the 1st of July because it helps for the books next season. And why are the books for next season important? Because we failed to qualify for the Champions League. As simple as that. As simple as that. Right, this story came in. Again, underwhelming transfer links for Aston Villa. What is the potential fine for PSR? If the fine is 5 million, but you lose more from that below ball offers, might be better to play hardball back. I think if that was the case, Villa would do that. I think there's a mass points deduction is the ultimate punishment. We saw it happen to Everton, and we saw it happen to Forest. I believe Forest got a points deduction. Or am I wrong on that? Or Everton? I think Everton paid the price for it. Aston Villa simply cannot afford a points deduction. We simply cannot go into the new season on a points deduction, and that is the biggest sacrilege there is, I think, on that sense with PSR. I'm sure that's what happened to Everton. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. There we go. Aston Villa are among 4 Premier League clubs that open talks with Porto for winger Pepe. This is reported by ESPN Brazil. Do you know what I saw when I saw that story? I'll be honest. I went, who? Who's this? Who's this? A bang average link, a bang average winger. If we want to be going for a Brazilian, which we keep getting linked to, we want to be going for Igor Paxico of PSV. Or was it Feyenoord? I've even forgotten that now. But the Brazilian winger, Igor Paixão, we want to go for him. Not this dusty winger. Not this dusty winger. I had a look at his stats. Absolutely dusty. So these are the bang average links that Villa need to avoid. We're being very clever. We've been very clever. Holding cards close to our chest. It's all right. Forest have no PSR issues allegedly. Who have they signed exactly? Yeah, they're waiting. I think they're waiting to cook. Forest said we got a points deduction because we didn't want to sell Brennan to Brent for 30 million in June. Waited till August and got an extra 20 million. There we go. And Everton, I'm sure Everton were the same. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Everton got a points deduction for PSR reasons. They conducted us points against Mino in the last game. Yeah, true. That was our points deduction there. That was our points deduction there. People, if you haven't hit the like button yet, please make sure to do so. Big up to each and every one of you. And thank you for the support on a Friday night. Enzo Barrenechea. Another story. Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan have shown interest in Enzo Barrenechea, but his preference is to stay at Valencia. I think, again, this is a player that I look at who I just think there's no sign of him staying at Villa, is there? There is absolutely no sign of Enzo staying at Aston Villa for the season. Too many links, too many offers, too many rumours, and again, a half-assed rumour of Villa might have a look at him in pre-season before we go to America. I'll say it again. If Enzo Barrenechea is being looked at by Atletico Madrid and Inter Milan, and we're trying to get rid of him, then we must be thick. We must have serious issues. We must be absolutely nuts in the head. We must be absolutely nuts in the head to let him go if he's getting linked to those sort of clubs. Do you know what I mean? Champions League clubs who are challenging for titles in their respective leagues. Is Emi banned for 3 games at the start of the season? Yes. Red card against Man United. You don't think that we're doing nothing? There's something going on behind the scenes. Our owners aren't stupid. They know what they're doing. I've always said that. I've always said, look, I think I've been quite consistent in the message of 29th, 30th of June, we're going to see something. We're just having to clock watch, but we're going to see something. And it won't be the sell of a big player this side of the 30th of June. If we are going to see sales, it's going to be your Louis Barry's, your Kesler Hayden's, your Kostan Djolkovic's. They're going to be the ones going. What I do see, though, if I'm honest, is the more I thought about this, it literally hit me 5 minutes ago in the stream, is that we're going to have PSR issues next season, the same 30th of June next year. And without being in the Champions League, we are going to have to, in my opinion, get those big sales again to Saudi this season. And maybe that's why we're holding on Leon Bailey, maybe Debu, maybe others as well. But talking of Ken Kesler-Hayden, currently he has suitors at both the bottom end of the Premier League and top half of the Championship. After impressing while on loan at Preston North End. Well, it was reported the other day that it was Middlesbrough, I think it said Middlesbrough, it was Middlesbrough Blackburn, who were looking at a 3 million offer for Kane Kesler-Hayden. To be honest, I'd like to see the guy have a chance in the Premier League, a lower Premier League side. I'd like to see him have a fair go in the Premier League. Just a bit like Jaden Philogene, really. We had a go with him, didn't quite work out. He went to Ipswich, didn't quite work out. Okay, so he's had his go in the Premier League. You make a judgment then, and then you go, do you know what? We're right to get rid of Jaden. Kesler-Hayden, we've got an issue at right back. We had a right back in Kesler-Hayden. We're not looking to use him. I'm curious to see where this guy's at. Is he a top Championship player, or is he a bottom half Premier League player? Let's see what happens. It is a calm Josh tonight. I had a bit of backlash in the comments, but I don't regret anything I said yesterday. I think I was frustrated for a reason, but I am calmer today because it's all going to be okay. However, trust me, if nothing's happened by the 29th of June, you're going to have to come in here and sort my head out. We're going to be on the ceiling. We're going to be on the ceiling. So chat, if we haven't done anything by the 29th of June, you're going to have to give me some copium. But yeah, Emi will miss the first 3 games. I'm sure of it for any team he plays at. So there we go. He is a Premier League player, mate, a Championship best. Well, Kane Kesler-Hayden, let's see on that one. As I said, I'm intrigued to watch him play for someone else to see how he gets on. I think that was a bit of a player there. I think they are as well, Kevin. Lewis Dobbin, what's he all about? Sell him? Listen, Dobbin, we're just going to keep loaning him till his contract ends. That's how I see it as. Right, this one came up as well from EFL Published. Another player we haven't really spoke about, but PSR-wise could help us out. Hull City are having talks with Aston Villa over signing Louis Barry permanently. Will happen. Barry made just 4 appearances for Hull whilst on loan last season due to a serious knee injury. Look, Louis Barry, another one. Another fallen product that hasn't quite made it through Aston Villa's high hopes of youngsters. Didn't come through the academy, but he was one of those high hopes. Hasn't made it. Get him off the books. Get him off the books. Let's see how he does. But again, I'm interested with Louis Barry. We're going to put a buyback clause in because what if he becomes the next prime? I was going to say Messi, but I couldn't think of a striker. So yeah, but yeah, exactly that. From Barcelona to Hull City, what a story that is, eh? But hey, Hull's a bit of an upgrade on Stockport County, where he's applied his trade as well. But yeah, we're gonna get Barry. I reckon Louis Barry's gonna get us a couple of mil as well. We'll have to take over. Well, come to United, then, Martinez. United is better for next season, please. I had to pause there. Is Man United in a better position than Chelsea, Villa? I'm not sure. Is Ruben Amorim the man? I'm not sure. But there we go, people. There we go. But yeah, big up to everyone in the chat. Mike and Kevin do their best. They don't have to do their work today. They can relax in the chat because I'm not on the ceiling. I've had a chilled day, a good day, and I'm not on the ceiling. Right, here we go. Where was the other one? Where was the other story I was going to show you? Oh, there's obviously that crazy thing about the Premier League doing interviews, but for me, that's just always going to be there. That's always going to be there. We know that the Premier League are trying to be Americanized, and it is that. Tom Colomos, who again splits opinions. Some people think he's anti-Villa. In his thing, he's talked about Martin's latest. Arsenal keep Watkins in mind, which I've been saying. I still think that one isn't quite dead. Ramsey price tag and interest. Well, no one wants to buy Jacob Ramsey for 40 million. Rodgers, we're not selling. Rashford, we know we're waiting for him to get rejected by some clubs. Luca Dean, though, is the one. Luca Dean is the one. If you wanted my honest prediction, okay, after the 1st of July, if you were to ask me which key Aston Villa players will leave, in ranking order of my confidence, I would say number 1, Leon Bailey. Number 2, Luca Dean. Number 3, Emi Martinez. Number 4, Kamara. 5, Ollie Watkins. If I had to rank them, that's where I'm at right now. I didn't put Jacob Ramsey in that list because I just don't think anyone's going to pay 40 million for Jacob Ramsey. But that's the key players. Now, I'm not talking about Moreno and Buendia and your Dendonkeys and that crap, if you know what I mean. I'm talking about players who are in Aston Villa's first team squad, potentially best 11. I think if I had to rank players potentially leaving out of our big guns, those are the ones. I'll put Ollie lower because I think we need to hold on to Ollie. And we need we need Arsenal to get Sesko or Gyökeres over the line. But yeah, like these guys. So Kevin's put these guys in. I haven't even included them. They're fringe players to me. They're fringe players. I'm actually talking about big guns, like potential big guns losing. But Kevin, all these players you listed spot on will lose. And I agree with Michael, it'll be hard to place. Steven said I've got a horrible feeling Watkins could go. I've got him down, Watkins, as a bit lower because I think Villa will need a 9 and it's going to be hard to replace him. Do you know what? I am half tempted. Imagine this as a transfer rumour, going to Western Supermare Beach or finding a donkey and taking a video of it and going, breaking news, then donkey has found a new club, and then just take a picture of a donkey in a field. Yeah, that'll go down well or not. That's what I'm thinking with the old Den Donkey. One big gun I reckon will be Ramsey. I think we've got to say, yeah, big guns, Kamara. Again, nagging feeling. I think a lot of Villa fans feel the same. We keep getting linked to some central midfielders. Big talk about Amadou Onana this season. Enzo Balanchère, interestingly, if he is in the list that goes early, then maybe. But I just think that Kamara not signing is the icing on the cake on that sense. So the big guns. But we'll see. Dempronka, yeah. There's no good adjective around Den Donkey. Let's be real. But yeah, he's an absolute donkey. Right, a little bit of positive, upbeat news, but look how quick this is coming. This time in 50 days, we'll kick off our Premier League campaign. Is that how quick it's really coming around? Is that really how quick it's coming around? 50 days till we play Newcastle. Oh boy, that's how I feel. Oh boy, yeah. 50 days, people. 50 days till we play Newcastle in the Premier League. There's a lot to do in 50 days, a lot to strengthen. And I always say this as well. Am I right in saying this, chat? That the transfer market will still be open during the season, which I always find a little bit worrying. Let me just check this. Transfer window. When does it shut? Transfer window shut. Date. Deadline date is Monday, September the 1st. September the 1st, the transfer window shuts, which means that Villa still play at least 3 or 4 games in that time period. So even though we could go into Newcastle, first game of the season, we could still not end up with the players that played against Newcastle being in our team. Do you not find that weird? Do you not find that weird, chat? That the transfer window can remain open while the season is still going on. I find that absolute nonsense. I find that crazy. That basically people like Emi Martinez can still have. Well, he's not because he's banned. But let me go with someone else. Someone like Ollie Watkins. Say Arsenal fuck around all summer and don't land Sesko and or land Gyökeres, and then the last week Arsenal come in and go, yeah, we want Ollie now. We're actually going to pay like 100 mil for him because we're that desperate and we've not sorted ourselves out. Then all of a sudden, you can see Ollie in a Villa shirt and then Ollie in an Arsenal shirt in one season. So yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that the transfer window actually doesn't shut till the final day. But there we go. That's a weird thing. That's something the Premier League needs to sort out, actually. Shut the transfer window. Open the transfer window earlier and shut the transfer window on the opening game of the season. It's as simple as that, isn't it? Shut the transfer window on the opening game of the season. And then you know you've got your squad. I mean, imagine the scenes, right, of Emi Martinez plays one game at Villa Park again, and then he claps everyone and says, gets to say his goodbye. Do you know what I mean? The little farewell tour. You get to actually say goodbye because you can set in the new season. I was trying to link that to a player who hasn't been able to say their goodbye yet. Bring back Ashley Young so he can say his goodbye properly, eh? But yeah, it's weird. I don't like it. And I don't like that the transfer window shuts on the 1st of September. But 50 days till our first Premier League game. Big up to Meeks, who's joined us. Listen, we wait, we see. We've got pre-season in between that. The pre-season games are going to come thick and fast. Walsall will be round the corner. And I think that is probably needed as well. I think that is needed as well. I think that we need some football to distract ourselves from the mess that is the transfer window and the mess of PSR and the mess of Josh panicking on Aston Villa from the stands. But no, in all seriousness, I'm interested to see the backlash of comments that will come. As I said, yesterday was quite interesting. I had people in the if you want to check out the live stream, check out some of the comments after in the comment section. I had a few people, say I need to calm down or I'm off my head. But look, yesterday I can only speak for how I feel. I just felt like yesterday was a really underwhelming, dead day, and it was frustrating. So we're going to have those ups and downs. We're going to have those, weird situations. But trust me, if it comes to the 29th of June and it's still absolutely silence, then I don't know. We could be in for an all-day stream on the 30th, just all day waiting for something to happen to break it. But yeah, the title of the stream will be "Won't stop streaming till Villa solve PSR issue." Won't stop streaming till Villa have cut PSR. Could be all day. But yeah, we do have to stick together. Big up to the AVFTS clan for being here. I really do appreciate you all out here. If you do want to become a member, check out the pinned comment. The memberships are going to be running again, 99p, and all that good stuff, especially doing live streams. We'll get the custom emojis in and all that good stuff. Scary tomorrow, there are only 49 days until we start. And 48, and there we go. But yeah, that's where it is. Kevin's just trying to calm me down. Technically it is an issue, Kevin, if we don't meet the threshold and the Premier League aren't happy with us, but which we are gonna meet, by the way, and we are gonna solve the PSR issue, whether it's selling Kesler Hayden, whether it's selling Barry, whether it's selling the women's team. We're going to do it, but that's where we're at. Michael refused to watch the Club World Cup, exactly that. But people, we're going to wrap up. I've got no more news to spill. At least we ended on a positive note. That is 50 days till Villa kick off and enjoy their Premier League campaign against Newcastle. But a calmer stream today, a more relaxed stream today, not on the ceiling today. But who knows what tomorrow will bring. As always, appreciate everyone who's in here, up the bloody Villa and all that stuff. Do smash the like button. We are going to wrap up now. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And as always, do make sure your notification bell is on. You guys are helping grow the channel. And that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to get bigger and bigger. So thank you. But yeah, have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. It is Friday yet. And I'll see you on the weekend. People, up the Villa. I'm out of here. Ta-da.